Hi, it's Marty again. So let's pretend your credit score is not exactly where you want it to be or where we need it to be to help you. The best advice I can give you is don't try to do it on your own. Unfortunately, at various points in time, and I've been doing this over 20 years, information you may hear was true and is no longer true, and it modifies all the time because the credit repositories and the way they're doing the scoring are trying to mimic and predict consumer behavior so that lenders can rely on those scores to make good credit decisions. So obviously the higher the score, the more accessible the credit is and the lower the cost, better rates, cheaper PMI, lower fees, things like that. We have a modeling tool that we can actually log into each of the repositories, so we can log directly into TransUnion or Equifax or Experian and say if you changed A, the score would modify to B. If you paid off collection C, the score would modify to D, and so on and so on. It's a very affordable service. We'd be happy to do it to help. Little tricks that you don't think of. Currently, meaning in today's world, don't close a credit card. Usually don't open a new one, and if you do open a new one, use it extraordinarily sparingly, even though you want activity. But closing cards in many cases loses you the history portion of the scoring system and can actually lower your score. Trading in a car and buying a new car, even though the payments are the same, because you lose the history from the old car and get a new history on the new one that's very young, in many cases it can lower the score. I'm not saying these are logical things, I'm not even saying I agree it should happen that way, just the facts. So that's where we can help walk you through the do's and don'ts along the way. I just yesterday pulled a new report for a consumer, and they're scoring up 64 points. So they went from significantly higher rates and fees to regular rates, regular fees, 3.5% down, FHA, easy process now. All that they did is they had 3 small cards, each had about a $500 limit. 2 of them the spouse uses regularly for some work travel, and they get reimbursed by their employer. And again, what I'm about to explain is not my rule. I'm not saying I agree, I'm not saying it's logical, I'm just telling you how it works. The due date on those cards is around the 15th. The reporting date on those cards is around the 10th. So what would happen is they would send in a full payment to basically pay the card off every month because they would get reimbursed by the employer for the expenses that went on it. So every month the card gets paid to 0. But every month on the 10th, the balance was almost maxed out. 460, 480, 490, right up at the limit. So every month, month over month over month, the card, which is a relatively newly opened one, less than 24 months, showed maxed out usage, and the score was significantly lowered based on that. All we had them do for a 2-month period of time was send in the money, because they have extra money sitting off to the side that they were going to use for a down payment, send in the money before the 1st. So right now toward the end of March you'd send it in. That way on April 10th the balance on the card is next to nothing. Use the card sparingly during that little limited period of time between the 1st and the 10th. And by the card showing, I think it had a $39 balance instead of a $489, and the other one had about a $60 balance instead of almost $500. The score went up 64 points. Saved them over 1.25% in the interest rate, got them regular fees, much easier process, automated system approval, the whole thing. That took about 15 minutes, and because we targeted that 2 weeks ago, so right around St. Patty's Day is when I first talked to them, we were able to move that score in next to no time based on the new reporting. So when that reports, the score will go up, and that predictor is clinically accurate as long as you don't make any other changes. What I find is that when you try to do it on your own, if you haven't accessed the modeling tool, sometimes what you do works and sometimes it doesn't work the way you want it to, and people get very frustrated. Settling things for less than the full balance, I could give you all the horror stories and the success stories on that. It's just a matter of detail, but we'd be happy to walk you through. So reach out, even if you're not sure, if you are concerned it's not okay. It takes very little time to pull it. We can pull it, let you know, and remember that second inquiry is not going to hurt you at all.